Oh, do you have to beat before I said you could beat me?
27.
Did you just toot on me?
Rolly. I just wanna rolly with a never end.
Dad.
I've already got done design on the way unfit. I do wanna ice on my wrist to walk you better when I did. And I'll look you when I put you in the trash. I just wanna rolly with a never end.
Now I'm free. Now I'm moving. Come on back there. Let's get groovy.
Hey, good morning. It's Emerson here again. Just want to talk to you guys about custody today. I have a lot of friends that's always like, hey, do you and B live together still? Or, does I live with you full time? Just based on, everything they see and, how Zion's always with me on my Instagram post or Facebook or just, hanging out, seeing me around. So to answer that question real quick, no, Zion doesn't live with me full time. He doesn't live with his mom full time. He actually splits time with both of us, 50% of the time down the middle. The way we came to that is we do a 2-2-3 schedule. And basically what that is, 2 nights out of the week, he'll be with me, for example. The next 2 nights, he'll be with his mom. And then for the next 3 nights, which will be over the weekend, he'll be with me. And so that schedule flips for the next week. So the next 2 nights for the next week, he'll be with his mom for 2 days. I'll have him for 2 days during the week. And then the next weekend, he'll be with his mom 3 days. And then, I pretty much can do whatever I want. And that works out best just because, like I said, we spend, precisely 50% of the time with that child. He gets to spend 50% of the time with both his parents. And then also, on those days where Zion's with his mom, I have time to do whatever I want. Whether that's clean up, run errands, just hang out with friends, go out. I could do all of that stuff. And on the weekends, I have alternating weekends where I can plan, anything I want to do, vacations, hanging out, sleep, anything like that. So it works out really well. It just takes a lot of the stress out of, one parent pulling all of the weight and having to do everything on their own. And then also, like, you get to be re-energized. So when you do have, when Zion does come over my house, I literally can spend, as much energy and time it needs to, spend as much time as I need to be productive as a parent. And, he gets 100% of, my time and energy. Excuse me. So, I just kind of want to talk about stress, for example. Like I said, our schedule pretty much removes 100% of the stress out of co-parenting. A lot of people feel like they're pulling 100% of the weight, and they're not really getting any aid. There's a lot of fathers out there that have to deal with child support, and it's a real strain on their budget and what they're trying to do. It's a lot of moms that receive child support and it's not enough money to cover everything just because of the way the state breaks down everything. And so there's a lot of stress with that, a lot of emotional stress, a lot of toll just between the two parents because the guy feels like, I'm paying all this money in child support and it's never enough. And, it sucks in my household. And then you're complaining about how it's not enough. And then just from a time standpoint between, sharing the child, it's just a lot of stress that could easily be alleviated with communication. And with that emotional toll that the parents have to go through, fighting with each other or just being annoyed 100% of the time, that leads to just a lot of pettiness in a lot of relationships that, we've all either had ourselves or we know friends that's going through it. And it's just, it's really terrible for both parents and for the child. So being out was able to just, alleviate a lot of that stuff. There's no 100% pulling the weight between either of us. We both go to the schools in the morning and afternoon. All of the staff knows both parents. We both communicate with the teachers and the staff and the principals. We both get notifications and updates, different events that's going on. So like I had Zion yesterday, got him ready this morning, put on his clothes for school picture day. Things like that. I already knew. B didn't have to text me and be like, "Oh, it's picture day. Make sure you put on his clothes and stuff like that." Although we do still update each other on things like that, but we just don't have to. We both get the emails, we both get the phone calls, we both get the notifications, things of that nature. So there's no unnecessary stress that we have to deal with from that regard. And Zion loves it too. Another thing we've done to alleviate stress on purpose, we consciously decide to live near one another. B lives down the street, so on days where I may have to pick up Zai because I'm running late, or vice versa, we just communicate, send a text message or a phone call. Hey, can you grab Zai? I'll pick him up when I'm out of traffic, or I'm done with this event after work or something like that. We live really close. If Zai calls or FaceTimes, it's like, hey, I want to hang out with Daddy. What's he doing? Be call me like, hey, what you got going on? If I'm at home just chilling, he's like, okay, I want to hang out with you. Boom, I'm there 15, 20 minutes. And we hang out for a little while, and then I can go home. So that's cool. So yeah, the 2-2-3 schedule I think is the best schedule for co-parenting. For all the things I just listed just now, it's really cool. And it just helps out with having a social life as well as being a parent. It helps out with being involved, understanding what's going on in your child's life, all of the decisions, whether it's school, any medical things that needs to go on with your child, fun activities, extracurricular activities, everything like that. It's really easy for both parents to be involved, and no one has that emotional stress of just 100% of the time having to feel like they're left on an island being a parent. And then that stress doesn't have to trickle down to the child. So Zion was in swim class recently. He's done now. He didn't really like it, but that's something that happened during the week and on the weekends. So depending on who had Zai that day, either one of us had to pick him up and take him to swim class, get his clothes ready, get his towels ready, and goggles, snacks, and things like that. That's just a simple thing that's just handled by both parents. It's just streamlined and easy. We both have an understanding of where we need to be as far as scheduling. And, just little things like that. Like I see parents all the time just like, oh, well, she didn't want to take him to football practice, or he didn't even know we had football practice, or she's asking for money for these, extracurricular activities that I wasn't even looped in on, just things like that. That really affects people as a parent, because if you're telling me that I'm not providing for my child, whether it's monetarily or putting the time that's involved, that's a huge slap in the face. It's a slap to ego. It's a slap to someone's pride. You're telling me I'm not pulling my weight as a man, or as a mother, or as a woman. That's a really, really hard thing to accept and take from a parent or a person, or an adult, someone who feels like they're handling all of their stuff, or they feel like they need to be. Like, that's really hard, and it shows up when you're a parent. It shows up at work. It shows up just in everyday life, because that's like one of the hardest things to have to come to terms with. But it's one of the easiest things to avoid and alleviate when that is happening. It just with communication and with effort. So yeah, I just wanted to share what my custody agreement is, how I feel about it, how well it's worked out. Some of the benefits, and just long-term, things that you may want to think about and apply to your life if you have a situation that you're not satisfied with. I know many guys who's not with their ex-wives, they're not with their girlfriends, or who they have kids with. They'll have like one day during the week on a Wednesday, and then they'll have 1 month, excuse me, 1 weekend out of the month where they get to see their child. They're not satisfied with that, and any other time they see their child is because pretty much the mom allowed them to come hang out with their child, because legally they're not even authorized to have their child outside of those days. So, that's not enough. That's not enough for a child to see their father. That's not enough for the mom to have time to do a lot of things that they want to do, just in their everyday life, whether that's recreation, job, different events, hanging out with their friends, like I said, running errands and doing chores. That's not enough for them either. So like there's stress on both sides, and a lot of times people don't see it because they're just worried about the things that they have to deal with, which is understandable. But like I said, communication, having a balanced schedule alleviates literally all of that stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the talk today. I hope if you are in a situation where you aren't seeing your child enough, if you're in a situation where you feel like you have your child too much and there's just a lot of stress going on, having that communication with your partner, having a better schedule. Hopefully that helps you out. Because I've talked to many people and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that schedule existed. I didn't know that was something I could do. That I didn't even, or I just didn't think about that. When me and my wife broke up or girlfriend broke up or something like that, they just didn't even think about it. Yeah. So hopefully this conversation helps you out, something you can implement in your life. That are better help you going forward with your time management, help you be a better parent and a better co-parent with your child's, opposite parent. So that's all I have for today. See y'all later.